Alright, here we are. Puberty. We are going to enter the arena of adulthood, nature's Colosseum, built before Rome was even a word. Are you ready to enter? Definitely not. You two are adorable. You could both be photoshopped into a kitten calendar and no one would notice. T, you just stopped wearing your retainer to bed. And P, you have only lost 2 of your baby teeth. But hey, advanced preparation never hurt anyone. Unless you're preparing for one of those face-slapping competitions. There are endless life lessons to get through, but I thought at this point in the series, it'd be helpful to introduce the big game, so you have an idea of what to expect when things really kick off. And the game of life really kicks off at puberty. So with so much to cover, let's go step by step. What is puberty? Puberty is when your body transitions into its adult form. What happens to your body during puberty? You get stronger, faster, smarter, but the biggest game changer is that you can now reproduce. And just as your body feels the urge to eat, drink, and sleep, it will also feel the need to procreate. What is the big deal? Good question. Why is this period of your life talked about so much? I mean, you've been getting stronger, faster, and smarter all your life. From womb to world, baby to toddler, toddler to child. You've had loads of physical, hormonal, and personality changes already. You've lost teeth and gained skills. What makes puberty so special? Why does the smell of teen spirit linger for so long? Why didn't Kurt Cobain write songs about his struggles riding without training wheels or learning his ABCs? There are many reasons why puberty is such a big deal. I call them the 3 C's: consequences, competition, and confusion. There are way more factors to consider, probably starting with other letters of the alphabet too, but I tend to come up with catchy names before I bother to think properly, and now I've painted myself into a corner, so we're stuck with these. Consequences. When you reach puberty, you start playing for keeps. With a few exceptions, pretty much everything you do before adolescence is part of the warm-up. No one expects you to know much. We do toilet training. Think about that. There's a whole syllabus dedicated to teaching us how to sit over a hole. That's a pretty low bar. But from roughly 12 onwards, you're responsible for more and more of your actions. And by 18 years of age, all of them are on you. It all happens so fast too. Time accelerates like a bandit with a van full of stolen plutonium, and one wrong turn can change everything. There are so many pitfalls waiting for us. Sex, drugs, bullying, parties, image, popularity, social media, FOMO, study, and peer pressure can really overwhelm even a full-grown adult, let alone a teenager going through it for the first time. You will have to make decisions that you've never had to make before. What subjects to take, what career to pursue, and how to handle relationships. Friendships become more difficult as people grow. You may struggle to make friends and feel as if you don't belong anywhere. You will have more responsibilities than your child form is used to. Like a restaurant in the Alps, the stakes are higher than ever. Hence, it would help to have a sound mind. Unfortunately, not all of your thinking will be done with your brain. Competition. In order to discuss competition, we need to first talk about power. Once you understand power, life becomes a little clearer. Worldly power is mainly measured by one thing: the ability to survive. The first part of survival is accessing resources. You need to eat, drink, defend yourself, find shelter, and furs for winter. If you can do all of this, then great. You have sufficient power to live. If you are good at something, you will feel powerful. However, it's not quite that simple when you are part of a tribe, which has been the case for most humans since pretty much the dawn of our species. When you are part of a group, power is no longer measured exclusively against nature, but how you stack up against other people in the tribe. It becomes relative. Thus, whether you are conscious of it or not, you are automatically in competition with others. You may be good at something, but when you have to compete with someone else who is also good, perhaps great, at it, your sense of power will change. It's like when you play Mario Kart against the computer. You think you're good, and then you go online and well, mamma mia! Same with me in Tetris 99. I've played Tetris since I was a kid and I've only won the Battle Royale once. Edit, I actually won for a second time since recording, this time on the can. And not only are you going to compare yourself to others, but the rest of the tribe will rank you against everyone else too. Think of all the ways this happens in modern society. School exams, sport, social media likes and followers, general popularity, job interviews, and judging people by their profession. What other people think about you ends up having an effect on how you feel about yourself. Of course, there's more to survival than just gathering resources. Nature's main function is to replicate itself. Thus, your ability to attract a mate is another big factor in how powerful you feel. And mating will be on your mind. Your genes just want to pop out of your genes, no doubt about it. You will find that people will judge you on this too. Have you got a girlfriend or boyfriend yet? And why are you single? Are common questions. This is one of the reasons why puberty is such a big transition. It's the first time in your life that you'll be competing for a mate with any real intentions. You may get anxious if everyone around you has experiences that you don't. So your attractiveness, physical and other, and how that compares to what you see around you, in the media and real life, will have an effect on your self-worth. This may go several ways, depending on your character. You may be humble and happy with what you have. You may be sure of yourself and carry on your merry way. You may be insecure and show off what you have. You may be insecure and hide away from the world. You may overcompensate, or you may absolutely do anything for anyone, or to anyone, to feel some sort of power. Sometimes we get power by investing all of our energy into our image, because we want the world to see us a certain way, not as who we really are. Imagine spending your entire life decorating your avatar and never playing the real game. What a waste. I fell into that trap to some degree. I copied my sister, because I looked up to her, and it led to some pretty bad hairstyles. I bleached my hair, dyed it blue. I even had a rat's tail once. Yikes. It's a really superficial way to live, and so easy to fall into. So where do you rank against your peers? Like a good electrician, you will want to test your power. You will push the boundaries of nature and society even more, and in different ways than as a child. Also like a good electrician. You've seen this before in every superhero story. There's always a training montage where the hero adapts to his or her new abilities. Same thing goes for you. Nature and society will push you, and through this cycle of push and push back, your adult form takes shape. And, for better or worse, we tend to bring this impression of ourselves with us into adulthood proper. Confusion. Even though you're still developing, as far as nature is concerned, you're an adult, and you will want to do adult things. You can hunt bigger animals and make babies. But because you are still developing, as far as society is concerned, you're still a wee child. You want action that you're physically ready for, and since you'll be doing those things for the first time, everything is incredibly intense and ripe for error. Sexual energy is a whole new experience. The politics of relationships is something that many adults still don't understand. This time of your life may see you introduced to it for the first time ever, and you may not have the brain to process it. I've heard that the male brain doesn't fully mature until the age of 25. Can someone fact check that for me and leave a comment down below? On top of all of those changes inside of you, there's also the outside world to deal with. During puberty, we start to see the world through a different lens, because one day we have to survive it on our own. It's no longer sandpits and marble runs. It's politics, taxes, house prices, current affairs, economic upheaval, social unrest, war, and of course, girls and boys. It's like there are more opinions than there are people. It can be overwhelming and even scary, especially for a young person who is figuring him or herself out. And not only are you experiencing all of this while hormonally impaired, so is everyone else around you. It's really important to keep this in mind. No one has it all together. Not peers, nor any full-grown adult. Our heads are just lightning in a jar, and we do our best to present a cohesive, socially acceptable version of ourselves to the outside world. But we're all taming a feral animal inside. So yeah, don't ever think anyone is better than you. So to recap the 3 C's. Consequences, plus power, plus love interests, plus other teens, plus crazy world, minus control, equals a very interesting period of your life. How to play. If I haven't confused you yet, I hope to now. You know all that stuff I just said about the 3 C's? It was all nonsense. God, what kind of idiot would write that? It doesn't have to be like that at all. Life is an open world game. You don't have to play it that way. Sure, patterns and common behaviours emerge, but what makes us human is our ability to choose. Dogs are consigned to a dog's life, but remember our introductory talk. We are part animal, part something greater. If this were not true, we'd still be cavemen, so something is taming the animal inside us, right? But the problem is, everything I said is true if we aren't conscious, if we lack self-knowledge, and if we don't choose to grow. If we don't take control and accept responsibility for our lives, we will simply go according to the script that was written in our childhoods and throughout puberty. And who is writing the script? Family? Friends? Social media? Bullies? At best, you might get cast in a decent role, but at worst, you may just be an extra in your own life. I want you to know that you have the power to write your own script. Going back to the meaning of life talk, you are here to grow into your true self. That's the name of the game. To be you, in spite of the chaos inside and outside of you. To get through puberty and the rest of adulthood with your true self intact. I want you to ask yourself what obstacles, if any, are preventing you from being your true self. This is personal and key to formulating your own game plan. I can't speak for you, but I've found a few roadblocks are common to a lot of people, including me. Worrying about what others think and how we compare to others, accepting ourselves for who we are, understanding the animal within us, and having the strength and discipline to keep true to our path. If we can counterpunch those things, then I reckon we're in with a chance. We'll have deeper talks about a lot of this stuff, but for now, here's some basic moves that might help you survive a few rounds. 1. Know your body. Learn as much as you can about the human anatomy, and animal anatomy if you can, because there are some interesting creatures out there. Check out the Chinese water deer. Learn all you can about health, reproduction, and sexuality. Then understand how all of this applies to your unique body, and respect that it applies differently to others. This is the first step to self-knowledge. 2. Know your mind. Your mind and brain work differently to everyone else's. Know why you do what you do. Know how you react to certain situations. Do you need or want to make any adjustments? You may need to journey into your childhood. You may have to confront things that aren't fun to look at. And you may need to speak to a mental health professional to help you with this. 3. Connect with nature. Knowing where we belong in a natural sense can help us stay grounded and humble. Simply understanding natural phenomena, such as tides, wind, and space, can really open the mind. 4. Have a sustainable source of power. This is a big one. As I described in the second C, competition, everyone needs to feel powerful, and we want to show our power and worth to the world. There's nothing wrong with this, but we have to be careful of where we get our power. Because power is relative, we can get it by bullying, putting others down, treating our friends poorly, spreading rumours, gossiping, bashing people, pressuring our children to live a certain way. But it's like taking a drug that builds your biceps while destroying your heart. You might think you look powerful, but it will destroy the thing that matters most. I've bullied people and said hurtful things. I didn't have much self-awareness till I was about 16, and even then I was such an idiot. I wish I'd known that I had self-esteem issues. We also hurt ourselves. If we are lacking in power, not only do we push down others to get some for ourselves, we might also accept a hand from people we probably shouldn't. For example, we join gangs and cults to feel acceptance and get strength from their numbers. We date people who aren't good for us and run off with the first person that gives us a compliment. We have toxic friendships because we think it's better than being alone. We disobey authority because we want to prove ourselves. We blindly follow authority because we want approval. We go to extremes to get likes on social media and in real life. We take drugs to escape the things that are pulling us down. We let others hurt us because we think that's what we deserve. Ironically, we disempower ourselves to feel this sort of power. There's a reason why extremists target teenage boys. At that age, you are so primed for action, so keen for power, and so reactive, thus, ripe for exploitation. As knowledge can be power, their simple answers can make a young boy feel bulletproof. And once that power dynamic is set up, you're not a free citizen, rather, you're a cult member. So be wary of easy power. To stay true to your path, you need a sustainable source of power. You need to feel good about yourself, regardless of what others may think of you, and how you compare to the rest of the world. I believe such a power exists. It's called integrity. Integrity is a great place to derive your power. Not competition, not pushing others down, not pleasing anyone, including mummy and daddy. The better you are at being you, the more true power you will have. It won't matter what other people say or think about you, whether you win or lose, how big you are, or your worldly success. The more you practice being you, the easier it becomes. Like I said, it takes a lot of courage to do this, and it's not for everyone. Another kind of power that is sustainable is compassion. When we come across a totally selfless act, we rise above common existence. We are whisked away to another place, a plane away from the chaos, closer to our true selves. This is the plane in which true connection happens. When you connect with someone, heart to heart, rather than interfacing ego to ego, magic happens. It's actually really easy to get to this place and tap into its power. You just have to let go of your own ego. The most revered people in history aren't the wealthiest, or biggest, or strongest. Rather, they are the ones that elevate our consciousnesses through acts of kindness. And true compassion isn't showy. In fact, you won't get anything in return, and it may even go unnoticed. But you will create better energy around you. And I reckon that's a great use of power. 5. Self-love. This is non-negotiable. We have tried to instill this in you since you existed. If we have failed, I am terribly sorry. We'll have a talk about this in more depth later, but for now, know that you deserve to walk your path to its very end. 6. Self-acceptance. Whatever you got from nature, we'll just have to do. I made the mistake of wanting more than I was dealt at birth. I remember thinking I'd be a much better footballer if I had a bit more size. That's what she said. But a wise old man told me, make the most of what you've got. Thanks, Mr. Weston. He was right, and I wish I'd heeded that advice earlier. Now, I'm old enough to accept what I've got, and just live with it. But this is really hard to do, and takes so much time. 7. Self-Sufficiency. The truth is, life can be lonely, but there is a difference between loneliness and being alone. We'll explore friendships and relationships another time, but for now, let me just say that the most important relationship you'll ever have is with yourself. You'll need to learn to enjoy your own company, and know how to be alone in peace, and not worry about what everyone else is doing. It can be hard to make genuine friends, and find a place where you belong. Know that this is normal, and that everyone else is in the same spot, even the people surrounded by an entourage. So you are not alone in being alone. I've never fit in, and I've only got a handful of friends now. I think you should count yourself lucky if you have even one friend with whom you can be your authentic self. 8. Be responsible for your life. There are some oppressive cultures out there that prescribe certain lifestyles, but we're lucky enough to live in a stable country where whoever and whatever you want to be is mostly up to you. You don't need anyone's permission to be yourself. So, whatever your path is, you have the means and right to walk it. 9. Self-defense. And I don't necessarily mean bobbing and weaving and the old 1-2, although those are handy as well. Knowing how to stand up for yourself verbally is really important, and if you can do it in a respectful way that de-escalates situations, then even better. You may want to learn some set phrases that allow you to get your point across or exit a conversation gracefully. Every fighting style teaches you set combos and maneuvers, so if you practice moves to deal with a punch to the face, why not apply the same sort of training for the verbal barrages that might come your way? 10. Be vulnerable. Have a crack, even if it's hard. That means being rejected by girls, not making rep teams, failing tests. It's okay. No one likes rejection or failure, but it beats dying with the music in you. I've been rejected by girls. Shock horror, right? Including your mother. But that's a story for another time. My novel remains unpublished, and I've never worked so hard on anything in my life. But I've put my heart on the line, and if I die without achieving that goal, at least you got to see the real me living with passion. 11. Be courageous. The world will pull you this way and that. Staying true to oneself takes fortitude. You might need to give yourself a pep talk to get through some tough rounds. Which leads to our next point. 12. Go easy on yourself. Life can be hard. Don't make it harder by adding yourself to your list of enemies. Finding yourself is a creative process. You'll need to experiment and you're going to mess up, and that's totally okay. Celebrate your wins. Be a good friend to yourself. The best way of doing that is by being someone you are proud of being. 13. Respect others. Keep in mind that everyone else is in the same situation. Be kind and lift others where you can. Celebrate their wins. Kindness and connection are like life rafts in the wild seas of life. It isn't easy, that's for sure. Envy and jealousy are totally normal things. It's how you respond to those feelings that matters. Ultimately, do no harm. Like I said, I've hurt and bullied people. It's awful, and I hate that I've done that. Both of you have hurt others too, and regret it so much. So please be aware of yourselves and the impact you have on others. 14. Have a humanity goal. Choose what kind of human you want to be, and how you want to contribute to society. Do you want to be an internet troll? Or do you want to be of service to others? I made a conscious choice to stop being such a douchebag. Turns out, I still am one. It takes a lot of effort to undouchify oneself. Unfortunately, my levels of douchiness run deep, and I'm still peeling away layers of myself that I don't like. 15. Have a code of honour. This is your personal morality, something that you choose for yourself. A lot of people say that they are a this or a that. They belong to this tribe or follow that teacher. But quite often, it doesn't actually make them a better person. And they don't consciously act in accordance with their proclaimed beliefs. That's why you should write your own code, and be responsible for it. Again, I don't want to tell you how to live, but I can suggest some areas that deserve conscious consideration. How we treat others, people weaker, stronger, poorer, wealthier, and those with different opinions. How we deal with adversity and success. How to disagree. How to handle feedback. When to speak up and take a stand. How to be honest. How to deal with our own egos. And how to set a good work ethic. You have to be happy with the man in the mirror. Set your own rules, guided by self-love, self-respect, respect for others, understanding of nature, and hope for the future. Things change as you grow, so be flexible and conscious. I hope this is enough to get you through a couple of rounds. It will take a lot of practice, experimenting, exploring, and calibrating and recalibrating. Finding yourself, as I said, is a creative process, and saying, "I'm still figuring things out," is a totally acceptable answer at any stage of your life. So just keep walking. To summarize, you were born with a certain kind of power. You use that power to contribute to the tribe. Then the tribe gives you a different kind of power, called status, based on your contribution and your ability to attract a mate relative to everyone else. This process is a cycle that repeats and shapes you over and over again. Things really heat up during puberty, because you have more power than ever. Thus, consequences can be much greater than ever before. And you have to navigate all of this while dealing with crushes. I can't emphasize enough how these teenage years, this first taste of adult world power, makes such a huge impression on you and stays for a long, long time. Sometimes forever, if you aren't conscious. Labels stick. Rightly or wrongly, you will call yourself names and be called all sorts of names by other people. But no one gets to tell you who you are, what you should be doing, or what you're worth. With integrity, self-knowledge, self-love, and respect for others, you can walk your true path. Mummy and Daddy will always be here for you. And most importantly, we will always knock before entering. Alright, go have some fun. See you next time. Like and subscribe, and remember, you can be a plural.